Was Thomas Jefferson the true architect of American liberty, or a man full of contradictions? Most people know him as the author of the Declaration of Independence and the third president of the United States. But the real Jefferson was far more complex. A brilliant mind who shaped America's future while wrestling with the deepest moral challenges of his time. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secrets of this founding father. Born in 1743 into Virginia's planter elite, Jefferson was a true Renaissance man from a young age. He wasn't just a politician. He was an architect, an inventor, a musician, a scientist, and a philosopher. He spoke multiple languages, designed his own magnificent home, Monticello, and even invented a new type of plow. His curiosity was boundless. He collected thousands of books, which later became the foundation of the Library of Congress. This insatiable hunger for knowledge wasn't just a hobby. It was the engine that drove his vision for a new kind of nation. His political career began in the Virginia House of Burgesses, where he quickly became known for his powerful writing and revolutionary ideas. When the Second Continental Congress needed someone to draft a statement declaring independence from Britain, all eyes turned to Jefferson. In just a few weeks, he penned the words that would change the world. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This single sentence became the moral and philosophical foundation of the United States, a promise of freedom that has inspired movements for equality across the globe for over 2 centuries. But here lies the great paradox of Thomas Jefferson. The man who wrote that all men are created equal was also a lifelong enslaver. Throughout his life, he owned over 600 enslaved people who worked his plantations and built his home. He understood the moral failure of slavery, calling it a hideous blot and a moral depravity. He even tried to include a passage condemning the slave trade in the Declaration of Independence, but it was removed to appease the southern colonies. So how do we reconcile this? How could a man with such a profound belief in liberty participate in such a brutal system of oppression? It's a question historians have debated for centuries. Some argue he was a product of his time, trapped in an economic system he couldn't escape. Others point to his writings about racial inferiority as evidence of deeper prejudice. The truth is likely a complicated mix. Jefferson lived a life of deep internal conflict. A man whose visionary ideals clashed with his personal reality and the economic structure of his society. Understanding this contradiction is crucial to understanding not just Jefferson, but the complex and often troubled history of America itself. As president, Jefferson's impact was monumental. In 1803, he orchestrated the Louisiana Purchase, doubling the size of the United States overnight. For just $15 million, he acquired over 800,000 square miles of territory from France. It was a bold and constitutionally questionable move, but it secured the Mississippi River for American trade and set the stage for westward expansion. Jefferson's vision was of an empire of liberty, an agrarian republic of independent farmers stretching across the continent. He immediately commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition to explore this vast new territory, a journey that expanded American knowledge of the West and its peoples and fueled the nation's sense of destiny. Beyond grand territorial expansion, Jefferson championed the rights of the common man. He believed in a limited federal government and greater power for the states and individuals. He cut taxes, reduced the national debt, and downsized the military, believing that a large standing army was a threat to liberty. His presidency marked a shift away from the Federalist vision of a strong, centralized government towards what became known as Jeffersonian democracy, a system built on individual rights and a strict interpretation of the Constitution. This philosophy would shape American political debate for generations to come. Jefferson was also a fierce advocate for religious freedom and the separation of church and state. His Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, passed in 1786, was a groundbreaking piece of legislation that became a model for the First Amendment to the Constitution. Jefferson believed that a person's relationship with their creator was a private matter and that government had no right to interfere. He famously wrote of building a wall of separation between church and state, a principle that remains a cornerstone of American law and a subject of intense debate. To this day, his commitment to intellectual freedom also led him to found the University of Virginia, an institution he designed himself free from religious affiliation, dedicated to enlightening the human mind. So, who was Thomas Jefferson? He was not a simple hero or a straightforward villain. He was a visionary who imagined a future of liberty and self-governance that was centuries ahead of its time. He was a brilliant architect of American democracy, whose words and actions laid the groundwork for the nation we know today. But he was also a man deeply entangled in the greatest sin of his era, a walking contradiction whose personal life failed to live up to his own lofty ideals. His legacy forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our history. It reminds us that progress is often messy and that our heroes are rarely perfect. Jefferson's story is the story of America itself, a story of soaring ideals and profound struggles, of brilliant innovation and deep-seated hypocrisy. By studying his life, with all its genius and all its flaws, we gain a deeper understanding of the enduring challenges and promises of the American experiment. He was, without a doubt, one of the most influential figures in history, a man whose shadow stretches across time, continuing to shape our debates about freedom, equality, and the very meaning of America. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the life of Thomas Jefferson. If you found this journey through history as fascinating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up. And for more stories that uncover the complex truths behind the figures who shaped our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.